What's up, everyone? It's your boy Zoe, and like I promised, the official first episode of my podcast had to do some rebranding. So out with the Barstool banter, and now officially going with. That was a weird sound. It was supposed to be like a gunshot. There we go. I couldn't do that. It's officially called the Oh-ZoNe podcast. So welcome. Yeah, it has my name in there. I had to do a little spin to it, right? So we're excited. And as promised, I'm here with my very first official guest, my Wi-Fi, as I call her, or my wifey, Melissa Ring Hernandez. So welcome, and cue the applause, special effects. Here we are. So I'm excited to do this. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this. We've been working on it. You've seen some outtakes from some previous attempts to make this work, and yeah, we're in the comfort of our living room where a lot of good things happen and bad things, right? But this is our safe space. This is where we've been involved in many heated, fun, sexy, crazy, just downright that, if these walls could talk,
yeah,
they would be screaming. So as promised, we'll jump right into it. So here with my wife, and let's just start with, when did you join the Marine Corps, babe?
2009.
2009.
February. Yep.
So we're coming up on your anniversary for your service, per se.
Yeah.
And she just had a birth. I lied. My son had a birthday.
Yeah.
Her birthday is coming soon.
Hey.
Yay.
Let's see, what's today?
I'm excited. A lot of pressure, man. A lot of pressure. 8 days. 12 and a half year Marine Corps veteran.
Mm-hmm.
What did you come in the Marine Corps for, and what was your job?
I joined as a logistician, a
Logistics.
embarkation logistics specialist, to be exact. And then once I got promoted to gunnery sergeant, that put me at a why is this like slipping my mind right now?
It's
because there's pressure.
A little pressure.
I went from an 0431 to an 0491.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, out of all that, how many places were you stationed?
I went to boot camp in South Carolina, and then I was stationed in Lejeune, New River area, North Carolina. Went from North Carolina to Okinawa, then from Okinawa to California, and then from California, well, I guess I came back here, but I'm a civilian now.
Yeah. So for duty. So,
yeah, each coast and overseas.
So each coast, back and forth, and then Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Out of all those, what would you say is your most favorite?
Probably Okinawa, for sure.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I mean, honestly, I think you're crazy if you don't like it here. I know
True.
that it's a small
Facts.
island and things could be more difficult. Healthcare is not the finest here.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, you're living on a beautiful island. It's so underrated.
It's tropical.
Hashtag yen rate.
Yen rate is fire.
And it's so safe here and away from all the craziness.
The best
that
thing
is America.
We let our kids just roam free. We won't talk about them in the cars because they don't use a seatbelt, and my mother-in-law would be very she's on eggshells. Gianni doesn't like it, but so the story behind that is, and for my Japanese folks that watch, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but the theory is that the mother protects the child, from what I thought. So
yeah, I mean, kids are like all over the cars here.
So there's really no like car seat law. They're climbing all around, like it's freedom of movement. Obviously babies are in car seats, but like toddlers.
It's a suggestion. Like the car seats are in the front seat here.
This is true.
Like a baby infant car seat.
So we take full advantage of it because our kids are completely feral. So they bounce, roll, twist. I mean, against our better judgment, but you know what? We're in Japan. It's kind of like calories don't count because we can't understand the language. So it's the same concept, right? Yeah. Safety first. I don't think it works like that with danger, though. It's so weird. But
anyways,
I agree. Ogi has been our favorite. It's been my favorite. So we met here, which that's a whole nother episode we'll get into.
We should do a whole nother episode.
It's going to be a special. I'm calling it now.
Yes,
calling it now.
Special for sure.
So you loved Okie.
Loved Okie.
Favorite duty station. Why did you join the Marine Corps? I know that we get that like a lot as service members. Like, why did you do it? And it's really hard to put into context. So
I feel like it is
top reasons. Top reasons.
I mean, looking back now, I think probably just to prove to everybody that I could do it. And I honestly didn't really have.
It's usually how it goes.
Any other plans at that point. I got kind of sleuthed into coming into the office, and they schmoozed their way into me signing a contract. I
don't have it in my vocabulary.
Is that a word?
Sleuthed. Someone looked that up in the dictionary. I was going to say schmoozed.
Well, I got schmoozed. I was sleuthed into the office, and then I was schmoozed into signing the contract.
There we go. Sleuthed to schmoozed.
You recruiters.
I was a recruiter, so I was behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Not for me personally.
Not for her, because I wouldn't have let her come in because she's too fine. But she mine. But
basically, I mean, that's it. My dad's a retired Marine. Military is definitely in my family.
Go Pops.
But it's not like something that I was like, oh, I want to do this.
Right.
If anything, I always thought that I would go into medicine because I love helping people.
Fair.
But yeah, they smooth talk their way, and
there you are.
Here I am.
Bam. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
She has two brothers. I hate like speaking. She's my wife, so I know things. You know, it's not like a guess I don't know, but she's, you know, I'll let her tell the story. Go ahead.
Middle child. Two brothers. Love them to death, but the military just wasn't for them. So that makes me a badass, I guess.
Facts. That's why I love her. Yeah. Something about that hardcore, you know, take charge, but you're still soft, but like it's just sexy to me. We're getting off track. That's a whole other thing. So you were born in
Virginia
and raised in
Nebraska.
Go Huskers. I got the hat on. You know. So
Huskers.
Born in Virginia, raised in Nebraska. From Nebraska, that's where you joined, if I remember right. Yeah. And then off to see the world.
Off to see the world.
And then,
yeah, my dad actually, it's funny. I don't know if I ever told you this even. He's the one that when I was getting ready to graduate the schoolhouse, he told me, like, Melissa, you need to go to Okinawa. Like, you should go there first.
Pops went to Okie.
And I was like, at that point, you know, that was the farthest I'd been away from home and the longest. So I was like, no, I want to like try to be as close to family as possible.
Most of us do.
So I put North Carolina, California, and overseas last. Which, I mean, everything worked out. But
I did the same thing, and I ended up in Okie first. It's weird.
Funny.
It's like that old.
Can you imagine if we would have been? Well, you were like way ahead of me.
There's no way. I'm an old man. We won't talk about that.
But yeah, so.
All right, born Virginia, like I said, for the third time. Raised in Nebraska. I would have to get into something tough now and ask a hard question. What was one of your hardest, or if not, the hardest thing about being a female in the Marine Corps?
I think just feeling like you constantly have to prove yourself, and
I could see that.
Being looked at for only like one type of way. Like any accolades you get, there's always like a whisper, you know? It's like you can't just be congratulated for hard work, and never really knowing, you know, obviously females in the military the numbers are much smaller, but they're even smaller in the Marine Corps.
This is true.
And so I think when the friends you have to make are majority males. It's like, I want to have friends, but how do I know who's there to be my friend and like have my back, and who's
actual
there,
friends, right? Yeah.
You know, with a bet of who's, you know, basically, to be blunt, who's going to sleep with the new girl first.
Yeah. Or who's going to like hook up or become boyfriend, girlfriend. There's always, I want to say always, but just again,
especially the younger kids, like, you know, like the Lance corporals, corporals. It's like fresh meat.
I'll just say this flat out, like hearing that, and I asked that question because I've seen her go through a lot, and I've watched you fight through a lot of the obstacles. You know, like shout out to the females in the military, because it's a fact. Like you have to work twice as hard. I've watched you put in long hours, double the effort, and you still get treated less than, per se, and you have to act tougher. You can't get sick. You can't get injured. You know, God forbid you have kids. I mean, the list goes on. And I've always told her, I'm impressed and beyond impressed. Like, I couldn't do it, you know, and that's just watching how you worked your way through your career and came out the other side with grace and held your head high. Like, I mean, just like I said, shout out to all the females in the military in general, or even like first responders, all these fields where it's male dominated. It's not easy, and you get out with a lot of trauma. Tell me,
sure.
I mean,
yeah, in one word.
And that right there, trauma is in a lot of forms. But again, I live with this, and I've seen her work through this. What was probably one of the biggest lessons learned from your time in the Marine Corps, compared to as if you went out into civilian job, like your experience?
I don't know. That's hard. I mean,
tough question. I'm good at this.
Yeah,
How about narrow it down? What's one of the top lessons you would say you took from your time in the Marine Corps? Whether it's, to not trust as easy, or to, your work ethic doubled.
I mean, for probably better or worse, it's probably learning how to keep people at an arm's length.
Ooh, that's tough.
I mean,
trust is tough in this world.
As much as the people you meet in the military become like family, one, you move so often.
Yeah, that sucks.
As much as it's like, oh, you're here for 3 years, things can change and they can ask you to move whenever, wherever. Yeah. And it's really hard to let people in. And you also learn that as trustworthy as we're supposed to be in the military, and that we all have these good intentions, that a lot of people aren't like that. So you kind of have to learn to not let people in, which I think for me, based on how I grew up and wanting to see the good in people, is something that is still hard for me to this day, is wanting to be like, oh no, everyone has the same intentions as me.
Yeah.
So that was hard for me in the Marine Corps, and having to learn how to like hone that and balance, really standing up for myself, but I'm not like a pro-conflict person.
Yeah. That's so my job.
I feel like maybe that's a big one. And really just kind of learning how to be independent. Like it is teamwork and relying on other people, especially when it comes to outside of your, your job field.
Yeah.
But you also need to be able to rely on yourself and the information that you have, and knowing your job and understanding what you're capable of, and being able to like stand firm with that regardless of what people say about you. And that's hard.
That's something you've grown into for sure. When I first met you to now, you were a different person. And I think the Marine Corps, through good and bad, it's given you the armor necessary to go into life as you came in as a young 19-year-old, and you left at 20.
I left at 30.
That's what I meant. 30. I knew that.
Let's see, how old was I when I had Penny? I got out in 2021.
Either way, she left way after 19. But my point with this is, you grow through that time and you become naturally a different person. And I think just that armor you've built over time has helped you.
Yeah.
You grew up in I won't say small town. Lincoln is not tiny.
It's not a small town, but I grew up in a very...
Would you say your home's conservative, or would it not? We're not getting into politics, but just
like my home.
Like your home house you grew up in with your mom, dad.
I would say I grew up in a very, religion's not the right word, but very faith-based home.
Okay.
And very, I don't even want to say sheltered either, but I had a really great upbringing. Like, not that everything was perfect. No one was ever perfect, but I had a good upbringing.
By your standards.
Yeah.
It was a good upbringing.
Based on faith. My parents were there, and I think being a parent now, all parents ever do is try to do the best they can for their kids, and I know my parents have done that and continue to do that for my brothers and I.
Well, there's this old, in my opinion, not wives' tale, but this old like underlying joke of like, oh, those who join the military, they don't have any other option, or they come from messed up situations, and majority of that's probably right. But you look at someone like you, and what I admire most, like you said, become good upbringing. It's not like you were living under a freaking trash can or anything and decided to join and do something bigger than yourself.
You make the face, I make the noise. We're gonna follow this recent trend. So here we go. I'll make the face first, and you make the noise. So I'm gonna make it, and
got
then
it.
you know, got it?
Yeah.
Okay, my first face is gonna be. Okay, are you ready?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, you have to get out of frame
Oh.
to make the noise. Okay. Hey, are you ready?
Go.
Okay, go.
Okay, now I have to make the face?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
And okay, one more.
Okay, one more each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's a what? Oh, this is good. I got
Okay,
this.
ready?
Yeah. Oh, ah. What are we doing with our lives? Okay, here we go.
Last one.
All right, last one.
That's so long. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we are done. This is, I don't know. How is this a trend? I don't know. Which brings me to, let's talk about going to Afghanistan. Again, if you didn't know, now you know. My wife is a Afghan war vet. She is not gonna say that because she's gonna always downplay it, but I'm sitting next to this beautiful young amazing creature sounds bad. Why don't beautiful amazing angel of mine
creature
who deployed to a conflict, like an actual war. And talk about that, because you were how old when you went to Afghanistan?
I turned 21 there.
21. Most girls at 21 are like, oh my shots, oh my god,
like a Red Bull.
that's what, you know. And here she is going to Afghanistan, serving on camp. What camp did you get to?
Leatherneck.
She went to Camp
we were on the air
Leatherneck.
station. I was there with probably one of my all-time favorite units, 264. Yeah.
In the air station, 264.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, Camp Leatherneck. If you didn't know, you see it on the news. For those who are not educated, Afghan, it got shut down. Right, we left, got out of there. She was there in the real wartime environment. So talk about that experience a little bit. What was?
I mean, you're right. I do feel like, you know, grand scheme. Yes, I definitely was a part of something bigger, and you know, the things you say are true, but I think when I compare that to like someone like you and the things you've done, or your brother, whatever, it's hard to, I'm like, you shouldn't be thanking me, someone should be thanking you.
Well, it's more of like appreciation, because she's humble, and you know, she doesn't talk about it. Most people that meet you or know you probably don't even know that, because she's just so, her natural demeanor is to, no, that's not me, you know. But like, heck, her going away plaque for exiting the Marine Corps is in our closet upstairs, because that's just the kind of person she is. But I also know that deep down there's some PTSD there, you know. And PTSD comes in many forms. I can tell you, from someone who suffers from that, like on a severe level. Just, you know, she will never talk about it, but you know, a 21-year-old young lady going to Afghanistan, leaving her family, going into an unknown environment. You know, you don't have to be taking mortar rounds and gunfire, but there was an imminent threat, and to know that you served in that time, I mean, I'm just beyond proud, and I hope that, you know, you should be proud of what you've done, and never downplay that.
I know I was in a different mindset. And looking back now and talking to people like you, and you know, when I was there, we definitely had like our flyers who were going into legitimate combat areas and like pulling people out and doing things like that and talking to them. And you know, it's like you think when you join the military that's what you want to do, and you know, they're coming back telling you like, I'm not the same person as I was before I got on that helicopter.
Definitely.
You know, and so I'm sure it's a blessing in disguise.
Mhm.
I requested, I think, 4 times to go out on patrol with the Motor T unit that was out there that we were tight with, because we were always getting vehicles and whatever.
Yeah.
And after the 4th time, my CO finally was like, you know, stop. Like, you're not going. I'm not going to be responsible to like have to tell your family something happens to you when that's not what you came out here for.
If mom and dad are listening or watching, they're going to be like, really, Melissa?
Yeah.
They would lose their mind. But
I just thought that if I come here and I'm not doing something outside the wire, then am I really fulfilling my obligation, like, to my country?
that's fair.
So I do struggle with that still, because
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I went there and I know I've done things.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, man, I wish I really would have been able to experience that. But then, you know, people like you who have are like, you're crazy. Like, be thankful that you didn't.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I say that 100% on the head. Hollywood glorifies it. It's not that glorious. So again, just be proud of your service and what you've done. But Afghan war vet right here, she wears it on her ribbon rack, her medals. I'm proud of it, and I know regardless, it was scary. It was scary for your family. It was scary for you. Would you say that after you left there, did it at the time like, oh, I'm gone, like I'm home, no big deal, and then slowly did it start to sink in, like, man, it could have ended a lot worse than I thought? Or were you just kind of like whatever about it?
No, I wouldn't say whatever. I do think that being that young is easy to be naive about.
Yeah,
you know, if I were still in and I was told, hey, you're going to go to Iraq, I would have a very different mindset than what I did at 21 years old.
Yeah. That's it.
I think also, like, being a female there is also very different. I may not have been outside the wire, but I definitely, you know, if you're going to get chow late at night or you're going to get laundry or whatever, like, there are definitely nights where you're being followed, like things like that I don't feel like males have to think about.
Really?
So it's another perspective of, I may not have been in a fighting hole per se,
right?
But you know, you're in a
battle within a battle.
Yeah.
Essentially. Or as like I say with sports, like a game within a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's something
you still have to keep your head on a swivel regardless of if you're outside the wire or not. So I feel like anyone, males, females, whoever, like, if you ever downplay anyone's service, like, just shame on you, because you really have no idea what someone else deals with or has dealt with. I think it's easy to think you know someone's story, but you really don't.
We just jinx each other. Let's go on the lighter side.
You owe me.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, on the lighter side of things, you know, while she was out there, you became a dang marathon runner.
Oh, geez.
Talk about that a little bit.
If Christopher Judy is watching, I want to throw an F-bomb, but I won't, respectfully. That man, who's like 8 feet tall and is built like a freaking tree.
Like a freight train.
Oh my God. He had us running to and from our pace bands to work, which is about 5 miles. He made us the entire duration. Okay, once we got Humvees, he made us run with our rifles, packs, like everything, to work. Okay. And then as a break, we got to drive home. Yeah. But then we'd have to drive the next day, and then we'd have to run home. So if we didn't run, we got to drive. But either way,
it was like a cycle.
It was like 40 miles a week.
My gosh.
Up, down, hills, dust storms, whatever.
Yeah. Look at you.
Oh, and because I'm shorter. Yeah. I'm like sprinting to keep up with his one stride, because this man is like massive. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm just keeping up with your pace. And I'm like, beep, 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 beep.
That's not Morse code, by the way.
No.
I got it.
I mean,
but
I appreciated it.
I was going to say, but it's something that you eventually can say, man, I remember
just was whatever.
When you told me that, or she told me how many miles she was putting in, I mean, that's something that you're like, holy cow, how did I ever do that? So, because I'm getting into my journey now with running, like legit running on a longer scale. Like, I won't say marathon, but I've been putting in more road miles. And I think about her all the time, like, man, I'm hurting doing this. Like, man, if she can do that, I'm going to do it. So you push me so many ways.
I mean, as much as I hate running, you know, I almost miss it now that I can't. I can barely walk.
I hate running. I still hate it. There's not a thing. Anyways, yeah. But she became a marathon runner, and I mean, I would have to say her weightlifting journey, top notch, banging.
I don't know about that.
At the height of her career, she was banging out what, 11, 12 pull-ups, or
I think my max I got to is either 15 or 16.
15. I remember seeing her in the gym, get this, just slow and controlled, like,
yeah, no kipping over here.
no kid, just honestly strict pull-ups, like beast mode. I mean, she's an animal and inspired me. Actually coached me through the only two shows I've ever done as far as bodybuilding goes, with nutrition, how to lift. I mean, she really pushed me, and so that's something that the Marine Corps gave you.
It did, for sure. I mean, I know I don't look like much now. Okay, I'm getting back to it. But I definitely fell in love with weightlifting. I don't even know what really like started it. I just started lifting weights because I never
picked it up.
Yeah, I never lifted weights in high school. I did gymnastics when I was growing up. I did volleyball. I did a little bit of track, but was never like lifting weights.
Right.
And then I don't know, I just got into it and loved it. It's a great stress reliever. It is empowering to know, like, at that point I was a pretty small individual, and to be able to push out the weight that I was like, okay, like,
yeah, the animal, I'm telling you. Squats, everything. So yeah, just an absolute inspiration to me. And I can tell you, with that, you needed that because you went through some hard times.
Yeah.
And if you could touch on any time, or one, if you feel comfortable, what would you say is one of like the roughest times in your career where you were like, I can't do this, you know, like this is like it, like I'm done? Not so much with the Marine Corps, but just like
life,
like in general, and not like that, but
yeah. I mean, I think everybody probably knows at this point, like, obviously I'm divorced, and I think that was really
married to me. No, I know what you mean.
That was definitely a hard point.
Yeah.
You know, we were in the same job community,
yeah,
which is small. We were also on a very small island, and it's hard to remain professional when you feel like everybody thinks they know about your life and like what's going on, and to try to deal with the stress of that emotionally and financially.
Exactly.
And then to have to put on a face at work.
Yeah.
And also, you know, be a single parent to a young toddler.
Yeah.
And to do all of that with the cards being stacked against you for being a female, dealing with all of that.
Yeah.
Was definitely a rough time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Outside of that, switching gears, what was one of the best times you've had? If like honest, like light of your careers?
Honestly, probably one of the coolest things I got to do was me and a group of like, I want to say like 6 or 7 others. We got the opportunity to go to Iwo Jima.
If you didn't, oh man, as a Marine, that is, yes. I haven't even been there.
Yeah, and that was probably one of the coolest things I was able to do. I also was able to go to the Philippines on a workup for about 2 months, and that was also a really great experience. You're what?
My head's itching. She did go to PI, and that was black. I've been there a few times, and it's beautiful.
But Iwo Jima was amazing. I couldn't even like put it into words. You just feel like history. Yeah. It's crazy.
You got to walk those beaches, and she has a fun, exciting story because I love flying. I hate flying.
Oh my gosh.
The flight back. Tell us about that again.
Y'all, I felt like I was on a paper airplane in a freaking hurricane.
Give me goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Like the way there wasn't bad, but I'm telling you, this plane was small. Okay, it was like, I think there was 8 of us. There was 8 seats. Like it literally, we were coming into Kadena, and you could see the ground. Like I'm like, who's moving the ground? Like, and I'm just like, everyone's just like, we're fine. It's fine.
You put on the fake face. I never understood that about like when we're flying, right? And there's turbulence, and I'm like, I know I'm not the only scared mother here.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's just like faking their way through it. Like,
it was a flight where we landed, and all of us were like,
Oh man,
Thank goodness.
that's part of the reason why I don't want to go to Iwo Jima, but I
Oh my
do
God.
at some point. So
It was amazing.
you got to visit, quote unquote, the motherland of being a Marine, and
Yeah.
that's something that can never be taken away. Did you get to put the dog tags? Or
I did. Name tapes,
Thanks.
dog tags.
There you go.
Yeah.
I still want to do that. So
Yeah. I know that for those who follow me on Facebook, every time I get a memory, share.
yeah, she's good on it. That's one thing I'll say. So
Well, I'm better at posting memories than I am posting
Yeah.
like real time stuff.
you're
But
so pretty. Gosh, sorry.
thanks.
She's so beautiful. If you look into these eyes like I do, it's so hard to keep it like.
Okay. What's next?
I don't know. I lost my train of thought. But
Um,
so Iwo Jima,
Mhm.
career, good times, bad times.
yeah.
What would you say coming out of that if you could talk to your younger self? If you could look at young Melissa, 19-year-old now, sit her down and be like, what would you tell her?
Probably block out the haters and just do you.
Haters.
Yeah. Stop trying to please everybody because it's
Okay.
never going to happen.
That's a good lesson.
And I'm still trying to tell myself that today. Like,
Yeah.
I think everybody innately wants everyone to like them. You want to put out,
I don't really give a.
well,
I really don't. Sorry.
okay, everyone knows Lorenzo doesn't care.
I don't. Like, I don't know why, but go ahead. Yeah.
But I think that was also hard for me.
Yeah.
To be like, not everybody likes me. I feel like I'm a nice person,
Yeah.
you know, or
Well,
people like me too much, or why are they saying this? Like, that never happened, or
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think I would just tell myself to put your blinders on,
Yeah.
and focus on your goals, and don't get caught up in the pettiness, the high school drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I would tell any young female now, like, focus on you and shut out all the distractions.
Yeah. Would you say, we have a daughter, tough question, if Penelope came up to you at
I know where this is
18,
going.
18, 19 years old and was like, Mom, you were a Marine, Dad's a Marine, you know, Pops, like, I want to do it too, what would you tell her?
That's a tough one. I feel like you always want to support your kids, right? But the military and the Marine Corps is such a different place. Like, I served only 12 years.
Only.
And
What?
and it changed so much, and probably in my last 5 for sure.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how you view it, or like if you were to talk to like my dad or anyone who's been retired, they're like, what is the Marine Corps doing now?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Honestly, I don't know if I could answer that unless I knew what was going on in the world at that time.
Fair.
You know,
And
like,
the politically correct answer.
I'm
I would
always
tell
gonna
her,
say
hell
that.
no, you ain't doing it.
I honestly, and this is gonna sound so horrible, but like, go join the Air Force.
Yeah. I don't know that, you know, people ask me that too. And I'm like, I don't know, because I know what it's given me and I know what it's taken from me.
Mhm.
And so it's really hard. So
I think that's the thing that people don't see is like what it takes from you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say the Marine Corps has taken from you now that we're on the subject?
How much time we got?
10 minutes?
Let's just say when I did my VA, like mental health screening,
Yeah.
right, for my disability, we were in there for a minute.
Yeah.
And
I remember.
I think, just to put it into like maybe a sentence, is like, I'm gonna do this without crying, okay?
Yeah.
Because
Please do.
we're Marines and we don't cry here. You join to be a part of something bigger than yourself, and to get out and be left with, just for me at least, like endless traumas to work through.
Yeah.
It's like, what did you like? I know that it gave me my family, and I know it gave me better character, and it did give me positive things. But at the end of the day, it's just going to spit you out and keep rolling. And so to have to deal with, for me, the biggest things is, yeah, I have physical ailments that have only gotten worse, but my mental health and the view I have on myself physically is like forever changed.
Yeah.
And it's something that, how I feel right now is like, man, am I going to be like this forever?
Yeah.
You know?
That's one thing that
It's
you
hard.
guys don't see. And this is more of the deeper side of this is, you know, the Marine Corps has a way of making you feel
less than.
Mm-hmm. And I watched you struggle with that for years. We talked about her being top-notch fitness, bodybuilder, so on and so forth, and it has a way of just kicking you down and making you feel like you're not that.
I mean, when I was that, I was still fat.
That's what I'm saying.
I was pretty much called fat for 12 years. I went to the most extremes, and I know everyone in the Marine Corps, in the military, know what I'm talking about. Diuretics, you don't eat, you don't drink water.
We don't do that.
Of course we do it all healthy, right? But this is why you have heat casualties out of PFT. It was never enough. And I went to very extreme measures, very unhealthy, and body dysmorphia is like a totally real thing. And looking back now, like I was so little. And then when you have kids, and it's like, I'm a full-grown woman now. I'm not a 19-year-old kid anymore. I've had kids. My hips aren't getting any smaller, people.
I like it.
I have a small neck. So regardless of me looking better in uniform than someone who's legitimately fat, because they apparently weigh less than I do, they're fit, even though they look like dog crap in uniform. It's like
just a bag of like cotton balls.
It's just a messed up system.
It is.
And I know they're trying to make amends. It's better. I think it's getting better.
It is.
But that is honestly definitely one of my more top reasons for getting out. I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I can't starve myself for 30 days anymore. It's
tough.
It's
tough. I deal with it still, going into weightlifting. Your body changes, so you have to stay within a standard.
No, if Imy's watching, she's gonna
she knows.
Shout out to Imy.
She knows we love McDonald's.
Lorenzo has a 6-pack.
Yeah, right. More like a 6-pack of freaking root beer. I watched you go through your struggles at the height of your fitness journey. You were too muscular, you weighed too much, and then you exit the Marine Corps. Would you say that those traumas of trying to meet that standard affected you to where when you finally got out, you were just like I'm done, now I can do whatever I want to do, and it just carried over?
I mean, I will say a positive is I had 3 kids while I was in, right? I mean, I had Penelope on what's it called? Terminal leave, right?
It's been out too long.
But what is it called?
I don't know, I'm just independent.
But with Kyler, I had a emergency C-section, and I had to be back at work at 6 weeks postpartum. And after having a major abdominal surgery, it's freaking nuts. And my command was nice enough to give me 1 extra week. Okay,
very sweet.
Shout out.
Very sweet.
And then you have to be, at that point, you had to be back within standards in 6 months, I believe is what it was.
It's brutal, yeah.
With Renzi, I at least got longer maternity leave and a little bit longer to get in shape. It's so easy for people, men, to judge you and be like, oh, well, my wife had kids and she's back in her jeans and this and that. It's like, well, good for your little wife. That's great. But I'm also juggling a career and trying to get back in everyone's good graces for having a baby and missing all this time and being on vacation, whatever. What was the question?
I think it was
how it affected me.
That's it.
So when I got out, I mean, let's just be honest. If you know me, I'm still trying to lose my baby weight from Penny, okay? And she's 3.5. It just is what it is.
Thick with 2 C's. I don't mind.
It's tough on me though, because I know what I was.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to not compare myself and be really hard on myself.
Yeah.
And then it's also well, F it. I don't have someone telling me what I need to weigh. And I don't have someone telling me I need to be taped and my waist needs to be this many inches.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. You wanna just, it's kind of now tattoos are very different on the Marine Corps, but it's before, when you kind of get them, you see people get out and they're just sleeved up, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's a release.
For me, it was,
Yeah, I could see that.
It was okay, I don't need to set an alarm anymore. I don't need to answer to anybody anymore.
Feels good, but in a way,
destructive, toxic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you feel like it was like that? It's like that, when you're upset and you eat, and you're I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna keep doing it because it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I just, again, shout out to all the women out there that deal with the hidden traumas that no one knows, I mean, the world's a biatch, and when you're a female trying to maintain all the pressures, I mean, it's the same for males, but let's be real, it's just
not the same.
It's not the same thing, and you know that again, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, I'm glad you spoke on that, because I know what we've talked about, and I know there's probably a ton out there, military or civilian, it doesn't matter, just women in general that deal with these things and how they look, how they feel, and how they mesh together. And it's an ongoing thing you and I work through. So I just want to say thank you for talking through that, because that's, again, you know, if you're out there and you deal with it, you know,
you're not alone.
Trying to build a community here, and that's what we do this for, is you know, it's not easy, and sometimes just talking about it, say, hey, I'm not by myself.
Yeah, for sure.
So, would you say that outside of that, what's your biggest guilty pleasure from being in the Marine Corps?
Like that I miss the most?
I would say miss the most, more of like, what's one of the things the Marine Corps has given you that you're like, I like it, but I shouldn't. We'll keep it rated R.
I mean, I will say when I was in, because I just currently I don't have like the physical confidence that I used to have, but I always, and this has been a really hard thing for me to adjust to now, being a civilian and a dependent, and I'm being on, this is no disrespect to any dependents, like it is a very hard job, and yes, now being one, it is a job. I hate being one. Like I'm not gonna lie, I hate being called that.
That's an interesting analogy.
I'm very sorry.
And truth.
But it's like when I'm at medical or anywhere and they're like, oh, are you the sponsor or the dependent? And I want to be like, I just be a civilian?
I always give a crap for that.
So I always answer, well, I'm not active anymore.
Yeah.
But I think I always felt it was a flex to be in civilian attire and someone to find out I was a Marine, or especially when I got more senior, like, oh, you're a staff sergeant, or oh, you're a gunny. Like, yeah, I am. Oh, I never would have guessed it by how you look. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah,
I know it sounds bad.
No.
Especially with
talk yo ish.
Females
talk yo-ish.
Where the military is like an accessory these days. But I feel like that's probably one thing that I kind of secretly enjoyed, being like, oh, I want to peg you for a Marine. I thought you were in the Air Force.
I knew it. I loved it, because
that's why you asked, because you knew.
I knew it. That's what made, like, something about it. It's just the way you carry yourself, and you wear it's like you wear the uniform during the day, but then you throw on that dress, or I see you in the gym in your leggings.
Where is this podcast going?
I know. I'm sorry. We're done. Okay.
Stay on track.
Guilty pleasure, and I mean, on top of that, you left, and now you're tatted up like a freaking Subway in Harlem.
I'm not. I don't have the money for a sleeve.
Tats.
So,
how many tats do you have?
I don't know.
I know, but
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
you individually
14.
Counting your fingers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm just gonna go ahead and put what's the word? Like
disclaimer?
Not disclaimer, like when you're like a dropping, like a, don't look at me like that.
Drop it like it's hot.
Like a
teaser?
Gosh, a teaser? Sure. That my birthday is in 9/10.
What day are we in?
It's in 8 days.
8 days. I knew that.
No pressure. That I wear a size tattoo. So if anyone wants my PayPal.
Oh my God. Now we're plugging. Jeez,
it is a plug.
It's a plug. There it is. Touche.
I can't wait to get my sleeves, but right now they're just a thought until I have the money to do it.
I love it. She's got her hand tats. Her mom doesn't like it, but that's one
Mom.
thing that I think as a Marine, you kind of military, but Marines, we just kind of like, it's a way to cope. You know, some people drink, some people smoke cigarettes and eat vape, like we get tattoos, and that was your thing. You were just a tattoo person. Like I
got one tiny one started. Okay, we got cut off.
Yes, we did. Sorry.
We back.
I
was just saying that I got one tiny one on my foot to start.
I remember. It's my favorite.
And it just, I think it blossomed into all this artwork that I have.
Full back.
My mom would not agree.
I love it. She's got a giant cherry blossom tree on her back. She has nothing on the butt cheeks or in that area. which I don't know why I went there right away, but that's what I want.
But just so you know, in
Anywho,
case you were wondering,
everyone wants to know. Okay, now you know. All right, but
I have my back done, my sides. I have one on my foot. I have my shoulders.
not the butt.
Not the butt.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, man.
All right, okay. Stop. On track.
You're the host.
Hands.
It's not my fault.
Hand tats, back, foot. Yeah. So biggest thing is I love tattoos, and that's our guilty pleasure, and that's one thing that I think you've gained from this, because she wants sleeves, neck.
Feel free to donate.
All that. So plugging in, birthday coming soon.
Yeah.
Drop it like it's hot. But since you've gotten out,
yeah.
let's transition to your life since you've gotten out. What would you, if like in a nutshell, would you say been smooth sailing, or has it been a journey since you've gotten out?
Whatever the opposite of smooth sailing.
Smooth waters, actual
it's kind
deep
of like,
impact movie.
I would say like
tidal wave
in a boat in the middle of the ocean in a hurricane, but the boat's the size of like
it's a paper boat. Touche.
Like my paper airplane.
I mean, I guess that's what it is when you transition from anything, but the Marine Corps, 10, 12 years going into something new, she struggled for everyone that goes.
I mean, basically, when I'm a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant to now I'm a stay-at-home mom, just had a baby, and we're moving across the world with a 6-week-old.
That was rough.
And it's like I've been here before, but now I'm here with feeling like I have no purpose.
Yeah.
And
it's back to the place where you were once serving. So it's kind of even harder, I imagine.
And like I said, like now being on both sides of the fence, being a stay-at-home mom is not easy.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, put me back in, coach. Like I can't. But I think it's just been an adjustment for sure. And really not until I would say maybe the last 9 months have I really kind of started to figure out what it is I want to do, what I want to enjoy doing, like hobbies, and like what do I like, what's next for me.
So what is that next step then? Talk about that. She's got the LLC, Beauty and Boots. Talk about it real quick before we go.
Yeah, I realized I really enjoy doing DIY and flipping furniture, and I don't know if I want to say woodworking. Eventually I think I could get there, but I'm still learning about that. Vinyl, peel and stick, doing things like that. I just like it. And so we started the Beauty and Boots LLC.
It's legit.
Where I like specialize in going into people's homes and trying to make their vision of what a home looks like for them. You know, just because we live in on-base housing or whatever doesn't mean you can't have a place that you feel safe and warm and cozy and things like that. So wallpaper, flooring, furniture, you know, design aspects. I just enjoy doing that. And I recently started doing stove covers. Who knew? It's apparently a thing.
It's a thing.
So if you want one,
hit us up. She's got a business page. We'll put it all in the description. Put all the links in there. Let everybody know.
But I've just really enjoyed that and trying to get in the right mindset for that and trying to find a balance between taking care of my family and also telling myself like it's okay to also take that time for myself and do what I enjoy as well, and want to find a place to where like I don't ever want to have a job again, but I want something to do and to call my own, and I just feel like that's it. And it's something that we can carry on, you know, past the military once you retire.
So that's the next step.
That's the next
Beauty and Boots in full swing. It's been a journey. It's an ongoing journey, and she's found her niche. I never know how to say that. I don't know. But she's found that slot.
Slot?
That's with an OT, not a. She's found a hobby. You know what? She's good at it, and this is why I want to publicly. I love her. She's a sweet thing, but it's what she does now, and I'm happy to see her grow into it. And give me 2 goals for 2025. I'm not big on resolutions. I don't like resolutions. But goals. 2.
I honestly think get to a place where I'm happy with myself physically.
Touche.
And the second one being to really put the time and effort to my business that I feel like it deserves, and then I feel like it can really kind of take it to the next step, and making time for that.
Okay, so those are big goals. I'm excited.
I feel selfish, and also taking care of my family.
No,
that's always a goal.
That's a known thing. So So I'm excited to see you grow into that, babe. And for the biggest, I'm your biggest fan, and I've watched you change, grow, shed your skin, if you will, and grow into this new person. And it's beautiful. And I'm glad that you could be my first guest.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully you guys learned something about her. Again, we could probably talk for hours, but I wanted you to get to know this queen of mine and her journey through the Marine Corps, her journey through life, and kind of what is going on in 2025. So do you have any saved rounds, as we call it, that you want to push out? Anything for the masses?
I want to support you, and I really hope that what you are doing and what I can hopefully be a part of is really there to just help people and build a community of our own that's different and unique, and just a space where people can come and not feel judged and can be like, hey, you know what? If they can openly talk about it and not feel alone, like, I don't know, I just think it's really cool what you're doing, and I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
So like, comment, subscribe, as they
all
say.
That stuff. So it's it. Your first episode is officially a wrap. It's been great. Hopefully you enjoy it. I know we're just getting started on this. There'll be more to come, more guests, but for now, this is my beautiful wife. She's my best friend, my confidant, my everything, and she's just an amazing person. I hope you learned something about her. So other than that, again, the Oh-ZoNe, dropping a new episode every single week. Make sure you tune.
That's the goal.
It's gonna happen.
Okay.
She's gonna push me. So most importantly, we're gonna rock, paper, scissors for who gets to slap each other in public. All right, ready, go. And rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Go ahead.
I win.
Baby one. It's supposed to be harder than that. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. Love y'all. See you on the other side. Peace.